Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, 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 wherever you may be. My name is PJ, and I'm going to jump on and see who's around and continue our connections in our Channel to Consciousness group. We're going to be speaking about financials today. We're going to be speaking about what's happening in the world in that level. We're going to be speaking about, we're up to part 9 of our part 12 series. And so this is all around pillar 7. So we're going to get right into it and lots of information to come through. So what is happening? So if you've just joined, has your workplace been affected? Has your career or your work or your money or finances been affected? We're going to be speaking about this today on a whole. So thank you for everybody connecting in and saying hello, just saying who we've got here. Hi everybody. Hi Christine from beautiful Marimbula. Hey Nick. Hello. Hello. Love to see you here. Thank you for the comments. I love seeing where you guys are. It fills me up, gets my energy going that you're all connecting in, and that's just lovely. Lots of healing. There's lots of healing whenever we do this, Jessie. Yes, every piece of coding. So this universal connection is a coding connection of healing. Every word or every connection that comes in, every coding is literally a healing coding. It may sound really strange, it may sound really bizarre, but the information that comes through literally unlocks blockages. So it's this healing, and it's being able to constantly lift you. It's like you guys are all in hot air balloons and you've got the cords anchored down into the ground with the sandbags and the weights and lots of rope. And the more things you are holding on to that are beneath you, literally beneath you, the slower your rise is. So what the pillar code is about, and George and the universal information, universal connection is all about, is just imagine that you are the driver in this beautiful hot air balloon, very, very safe hot air balloon. And you are choosing to lift and lift and lift. So you've got the higher perspective of life. But you've got, if you look over the side, there's all of these ropes, and these ropes are either tacked down to the earth, or these sandbags, they're holding you back down, and they are literally beneath you. They are not a part of your world anymore. They're not required in your world anymore. And so the coding that universe, George, information has been sending through and has created this new modality called the pillar code. It literally is healing to decode what is going on, why you're still holding onto that sandbag, and how to recode to gently, easily release, to give gratitude of everything in your past, but to release. Today is all about release, and we're going to go into that a lot with the explanations today. So imagine that you've got this beautiful journey and you're trying to elevate and lift. What is it that's in these sandbags that is undisclosed to you because they're hidden in the sandbags? That's hidden in your subconscious or your unconscious state, and you can't access them, you can't see them. What is it that you require to release on this? So yes, lots of nurture and lots of healing. So you're on school holidays, okay? So that means, is there not much of an effect? Let's see what's happening in your workplace. Loving working online, Sally, yes. So this is the thing that I will say to you, that the pillar code accountant actually came through and said a few days ago that he's absolutely stunned and staggered. And he said it's like there has been this knowing, this guidance. It's like, yeah, really, about how the business has been moved online. And each of the practitioners, like Sally, each of the practitioners who have had a face-to-face business have actually listened to their guidance about taking their knowledge and their business, and then our practitioners have obviously done the practitioner training to take that online. It's just been this self-guidance to be in the right place at the right time with an online business at the moment. So it's amazing how people are really embracing, as we've been saying, we can do all this online. Now the clients are going, we get this, or we know that you can do all this online. Tammy, my business is slow, but my job is busier as people are self-isolating more. So tell us what you do. All of you guys on here, tell the community that what you are doing. So clients needing more care, absolutely, as everyone goes into this isolation. And in Australia, we just had further announcements about what that isolation is getting stricter and stricter as well. I'm working on organic produce. Beautiful, Jessie. Today holding sauce at the door, as we can only have 8 people at a time. Yeah, okay. Everything's changing. Christine, you have set up online for energetic healing sessions. You're currently adding more options for a wider range for the wider community. This is a fantastic social media message going around at the moment, going, yeah, all of those people for all of these years are saying, all of those woo-woos, you're all mad, who are now looking at all of those woo-woos going, oh my God, you're the calm ones. And all the ones who haven't done the effort or the healing or the journey or the work or the personal development or social development, professional development on themselves and so on, they're the ones that are running around saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And everyone who is actually is sitting in this healing space, in this spiritual space, this connected space, going, this is amazing, this is fantastic, this is an opportunity for the world to correct itself. So there's such an element of positive and negative, and that's the pillar that we are speaking about. All right. Hello, hi everybody, connecting in, lovely to see you there. Tammy, residential mental health support work in your job. So mental first aid, all of these things that can be done online. Fantastic that you can actually connect into that. Delise, planning online PT for the next term and doing YouTube channel for exercise, both for students and community, to make people smile and laugh. Fantastic, that is what we're requiring. Julie, naturopath on maternity leave now, of course, with your beautiful children, and needing homeschooling, which scares you. Oh yes, doesn't homeschooling scare everybody? Having a child, 2 children, 3 children, 4 children, 5 children in confines of a small space, the space gets smaller and smaller as the kids get more and more energy. What we recommend is stop all sugar. Love the woo-woo, yes. It's like the outing now of the woo-woo. It's the outing, be proud and be woo-woo, because we're the ones who are actually dealing with everything at the moment, and I'm we're not making light of this situation, but it's about the reaction. It's about your reaction to the situation, not the situation. We're going to go into that. Holding space, I thought that's what you may have meant. Joe, you've just realized how much work you have done. All right, so guys, this is getting into now the positive and the negative of the world. This is our pillar 7. Lovely to see so many of you on here today. We're going to give you information about what's happening in the world. We're going to explain the next part of this little training series that we're doing. We're going to be speaking about our pillar 7. I'm going to explain all that again. If you are new here, big welcome. If you guys are a part of this community and you invite somebody on, just because I've seen that it's you inviting, I approve them into the group straight away. So please share away. These sessions are standalone sessions where you'll see a lot of information, a lot of connection, a lot of individual coding, but they also form part of the 12-step little program that I've put together. And so just go back on the Facebook on this page and just go back, and I've just ordered them, 1 through to, we're up to 9. So just go back at some point and listen to them, because they'll all form literally a part of a story. They'll become like chapters in a book. And if you keep your coding and all that information in one area, you'll actually see the progression of this information as we go through. It is all about creating positive change. The entire, our entire company, practitioners, business, everything is all about creating positive change. And so there is such a message and such a movement going on at the moment that we are now in the waves, literally reaching the shore, and we will go into us. Hello, Sandy, lovely to have you listening. All right, so let's go straight in. For those who are new, my name is PJ, and I'm the CEO and the founder of an organization called the Pillar Practice, and we are all about creating positive change in people's lives, minds, bodies, and businesses. And so this is understanding that there is a balance between the analytical and the intuitive, and we have been living split lives and split worlds for too long. And so what that means is we've been either all in our analytical work house, finance house, and intellectual space, and then on the weekends we'll go home and maybe then look at some intuitive information, listen to some beautiful spiritual leaders, or we'll do our meditation, or we'll really feel connected into our creativity or our artwork or so on. But we have been keeping the two apart, and this world is moving into bringing them back in to the bridge of one, moving forward into a higher consciousness. So we can no longer be separate beings in the one body. We can no longer pretend to be sitting in that workhouse and not connecting into the intuitive, or sitting in the intuitive and forgetting about the financials and the actual action and the work that is required for us to do in our life. This is the alignment of the two. You will see that there is parts of this information where it's literally PJ coming through and speaking personally, but the majority of this information will be coming through when she connects into this higher universal information that is affectionately known as George. George is an acronym for the universal connection, the universal consciousness, the highest level, the highest vibration that is actually the one energy of love, lifting the consciousness of the planet, giving the understanding of the ultimate in energy, in information, in healing, in connection, in that communication, all centered around love. George is the acronym of globally enlightened, which is the teaching, origin restoring, which is the healing, governing energy, which is love through communication. So the Pillar Practices is about teaching, healing, love. That is it. That is the simplicity of what the entire business is about. Teaching, healing, love. And then that goes into particular programs that people can embrace with people who have chosen to learn the pillar coding process. And then people can go through the pillar code, which is the signature program, 12-step program for themselves, or the corporate code for their business, or the connection code, which is the mini taster program, and so on. So if you're new to this, welcome. You will see that there's quite often some very forceful information that comes through. It is always on the basis of love. It can be a kick up the pants information, always on the basis of love. It can be very stern warnings or stern call to action. It will always be on the basis of love. And this is the universe saying, we are urging you right now. We are urging you to lift and do it quickly. We are urging you to be at the highest vibration of yourself and do it quickly. We are asking you to wake up and be conscious and do it quickly. We are asking you to be at the highest version of yourself and do it quickly. We ask that you be the beacon of light and show others the light of consciousness through that love and that higher vibration of self, and do it quickly. There is no more time to ponder. There is no more time for hesitation. There is no more time to wait on this. We have been delivering these messages. These are the exact same messages for 8 years now, saying get ready, and get ready. lift your vibration, connect into the highest version of yourself, maintain that positivity and that gratitude for all of the journey that you've been struggling through to get to this point. But at this point, this is the time of action. There is no more time to procrastinate. This is the time of action. There's no more time to lose. This is the time of action. There's no more time to sit and not listen to the instinct that you have and not listen to your knowing. This is your time of action. You've got the intellect, you've got the knowing. Align the two together. What are you being told? What is your instinct telling you? You have everything that you need to do in the analytical sense. You have it all. There is no more requirement for you to lift into that intellectual analytical sense. It is there. All the work that you've done in the past, it is there. All the training you've done, it is there. All the information that you've done, that is there. All the teaching that you've done, it is there. You've got the intellectual decision making process ready to link into your intuitive to start making decisions and start delivering. It is already there. You'll have that information. It is already there. This pause, this time, this peace will allow you to lift more of the intuitive and match it with what you've done with the analytical, what you've done with your workhouses, what you've done with your education in the past. This is a time to lift your instinct. You are a higher being, vessels that are sitting there from the highest level of consciousness, from that one source, that one energy, the highest intelligence. If you are sitting there and you are part of this highest intelligence, why are you sitting there and pretending you're not? Why are you dumbing down? So many people on the planet literally dumb down to fit in with the average. Well, it's no longer acceptable. It is no longer acceptable to dumb yourself down to fit in with the average. We are asking you now to be at your best and to lift and to be at the highest version of yourself. Be positive and be grateful and release the past behind you, because the past is where it needs to be, in the past. Don't hold on to it any longer, because it is slowing the progress down of you moving forward. So what we are asking you at the moment, you know you have more to you. You know that there is more to you. You know that you can connect more to you. You know you have an instinct. We know you have an instinct because we know you hear it. We know you understand it. We know you sense it. Not out of ego, not out of pride, not out of being better than anybody else on the planet, but out of being of where you've come from, of your home, of your connection, from where you have been, where you've left and where you will eventually go back to. We ask you to feel that vibration of love. We ask you to feel that higher vibration of knowing, and then know that everything that you've done in this world, everything you've done on the planet to date has led you to this point. It is not something that you can feel a victim about, but everything that you have experienced has happened to you, that you have done or not done, that you have known, that you've been grateful for, or that you've been ashamed of, that you've been fearful of, or that you've been angry of, has all been leading you into this point. And this point is asking you to now match it with your sense of knowing, your gut instinct. Because when you can calm everything down and bring your gut instinct in, that is when you'll know why this situation is happening, what is it going to be doing, how long it's going to be happening for, what it means to do, what it means for you, and most importantly, what is it that you're choosing at the end of it. If you are just choosing to survive at the end of it, if you're just choosing to survive this, then you've missed the point. You've missed the point. This is not survival. You are survival. You are survival. You are the epitome of survival. And those who are transitioning and going home, they're in their highest version of survival. But whilst you are still here and conscious and still have an inkling that you do have a purpose, then it's not about survival. It is about stepping forward and seeing where your journey is meant to be, where you are choosing to be at the end of it, because this is a pivoting time, and this is where you pivot to be someone and something better and higher and different and more conscious and more organized and calmer and more in control and more confident right at the end of this process. So start with the end in mind, regardless if you're in isolation for a month, for 2 months, for 4 months, 6 months, for 12 months, regardless of how long you are there for, and it's not going to be that long, but regardless of how long you're going to be there for, what is the end game? If you have an end solution, we'd like you to write it down now. Write it down privately or write it down on here. What is your end solution? What we mean by this is when the world opens up again, and it will open up so much better than when it closed its doors. When the world opens up again, in what position are you going to be in? How will your mental health be? How will your physical health be? How will your financial health be? How will your relationship health be? Where will your consciousness be? Where will your value of self be? And so on. So write it down. Be very, very, very specific. So write that down as an exercise you are going to do when you get off this live. So you're going to see where is the end in mind. Now look at the world. Let's go global now. Look at the world. What is happening is there is so much change. And if you are new to this, go back on all the other lives. We've gone into this in detail. So what is happening? There is now this shift from the negative into the positive, and many people are seeing from the positive into the negative. Those who are on the front line, those who are the medical workers, those who have got whose families who have lost, and so on. There is this constant change. Has it gone from the positive to the negative, or is it going from the negative into the positive? And it's all about your perception about where you're sitting, depending on what that means. So when you're having a look at that, you're looking at the world is pivoting, is absolutely pivoting, and it is shutting down. We've said it's a reboot, it's recalibrating. The world is recalibrating. So it has to shut down to recalibrate to open back up again. When you shut down a computer, it opens back up and it's fresh and it's clean and it's raring to go again. That's what's happening with the world. But before you reboot, before you recalibrate it, it's actually at the worst state. Before you fix anything, before you put a car in for a service, before you actually recalibrate any piece of equipment, it's actually at its most dysfunctional state. It goes through a calibration process to come back up into the best, clearest version of itself so it can perform at its highest function. The world needed that recalibration. The world just needed time out. The world needed to just stop. And so the coronavirus is one of the instigators. If you want to look at it, it's the positive. Keep finding the positives in this. The coronavirus has been one of the instigators to stop the world, to let the world actually recalibrate, because there is a consciousness shift. And we have spoken about this for so many years now. There is a consciousness shift. It is not if. It is not if. It is here. It is not how. It is here. It is not what does that mean? We don't understand. What do we have to do to help make it happen? It is here. It is coming from the outer source that is coming in to help lift the world into this newer, higher recalibration. And those who have understood this over the last decades are excited about it. Those who are new to it will be fearful of it, and that's totally understandable. But it comes down to how you can bring it into its simplest form of the positive versus the negative. You could be someone who all that you see on social media is all the negative messages, or you could be someone that all you keep seeing are all the positive messages. That hospitals are reporting that they have had their lowest staff infections and MSRAs and so on in hospitals for decades. We've already spoken about, the waterways are clearer and the air is clearer. The throwaway society is not there because people aren't being able to go out and buy frivolous things to then throw it away so much. Because people are going into lockdown, people are going to have to start repairing things and fixing things instead of going, oh, we don't think that's working, throw that one out and let's buy something new to replace it. People are going to have to go back to cooking and actually, and getting vegetables and having a look at recipes and seeing what's happening in the kitchen. People are going to go back to educating their own children and reading books to their children and speaking to children and educating children on life, not necessarily on schoolwork, but on life as well as that homeschooling. So children are going to be seeing more about how a mother will manage their time, how a father will manage their relationships, and so on. That they will be looking, and then they'll actually be seeing more of the family, and seeing that the work has to be done. We can play, but we have to clean the floors. We can muck around, but we have to make our beds. And there's education, coming back to the basics. So what is happening? It's a recalibration of the planet, getting back to basics. Now, a number of years ago, we did an entire treat on back to basics. So when we finish this 12-part series, we'll actually take you through some of that and explain what we mean, because everything is coming back to basics, and everything in the pillar codes, rules of back to basics, are all free things. It's like sleep. It's like breathing. They're all free things. So we will take you through that as we conclude this 12-part series. So what is happening is, because you are an element of this universal consciousness waking, you are an element of this. You are like a cell within the body. You are a person on the planet. This consciousness is happening. Everything is recalibrating. Things are shifting. There are jobs that are going, that we understand people are losing their jobs. There's this huge recalibration, but there's going to be a recalibration about us and them. There's going to be a recalibration about where you put your value. If you feel that someone who sits in front of the camera and acts and performs and so on is worth $50 million a year, but a nurse is worth $50,000 a year, what's happening now? We think you're going to start recalibrating. We think you're going to start looking at value again. So have a look at where, if the world was ending, which it isn't, if the world was ending, who would you like to pay to be at the end of your street for the services that you require? And it's not going to be the people that you've traditionally supported these ridiculous, overwhelming wages to, because you're going to come back to, what does society need? Now, come back into your life, come back into your home, and it's exactly the same thing. What is it that you actually require? You're going to start unsubscribing things on your phone and your emails. You're going to start clearing up things, because as you're getting into more and more space and peace, what's actually going to happen, things that start coming up at you that seem to be sitting in this more impure sense, like we were speaking about in Pillar 5, the impure sense, that you're going to actually just wanting to start getting rid of it. You're going to start really wanting to declutter the house, because as you are sitting in the home, you'll start realizing so many things within it just aren't worth your time anymore, and they're actually clogging up valuable space as you only have that space now to work within. So have a look back at what is happening on the world, what is happening with this recalibration, and where is this affecting you? Because this is all around our Pillar 7. Each pillar is a universal stepping stone, and the information, the matrix of this, has been gifted and coded through this channel and has been delivered in a teachable format. It is downloaded, is accessible for everybody to utilize, and it is the understanding, the coding of where you are all sitting on these universal pillars. We are speaking today about the 7th pillar, and this is the pillar of positivity. You are either the pillar of positivity, or you've fallen flat on your face and it's the negativity. When you action that particular pillar, the action of positivity is gratitude. So when you're positive, you'll be actioning gratitude. And when you like to remedy this pillar, you'll be creating gratitude, paying it forward, complimenting someone, giving people testimonials, supporting people, being grateful for the world, being grateful for your past, regardless how you saw it. Be grateful for your present, regardless how you are seeing it. And be grateful for your future, because you are choosing it. And this is a very important sequence to make sure you go through and you understand what we're speaking about here. When you have the opposite, and you're not in the pillar side of this Pillar 7, and you're in the contrast side, you are in the greed side. What you are seeing around the world is that greed has been exposed. Greed has actually been revealed. We were speaking yesterday about the PPE, the personal protective equipment around the world, medicines, all the drug requirements, bedding, all sorts of things that have been outsourced of countries and outsourced of local areas into countries that you can't actually get the access to get them back into your country. And worse still, they could actually put a hold over you from accessing. They could literally, people could blackmail local areas because they've got all the drugs on the planet. They've got the medicines, they've got the heart medications and the diabetic medications and the asthma medications and so on, all offshore. Why? Because there was a greed of money. Why? Because they decided many years ago that people could save money and send everything offshore. So other countries have been lifted and have been strengthened, and local communities are now seeing the kickback of what that greed is. They're now seeing the results of greed. So instead of being grateful that local communities can create and can manufacture and have the jobs held in local communities, people have been screaming about this for decades. Why aren't local communities doing the skills that they are good at, and the local communities being in charge of their manufacturing? And you can exchange within local communities, but you have a core and you have a base and you hold the supply chain within your local community. Why has that been gifted to places that haven't been trusted to actually support you within your supply chain when you're requiring it? Because everybody at the moment is requiring all of these things to come in quickly. What is also happening? People, of course, have gone onto their spending sprees. Why? Because people don't trust. It's all because they don't trust. And it's those without that consciousness, with those without that acceptance, those who haven't got the faith that they'll be supported, that they'll be in the right place, that they'll have the right support. They're the ones who have gone into the shopping frenzy. And the shopping frenzy, one thing it's showing you, and this is all around our pillar 7. Pillar 7 is positivity versus negativity. It's gratitude versus greed. And in the body sense, it's actually the release of toxins, the release of the bowel, the bladder, the menstrual skin, the breath and the fluids, the toxins, the weight and so on. Or if you're in your contrast side, you hold on to all of that. And your bowel will go out, and your menstrual cycle will go out, and your weight will go out, and your toxicity will be holding on to, and so on. This is also linked to the financials though. So what happens is with this particular pillar, when there's greed around pillar 7, there's greed, holding on, like buying, storing, holding on. Now, where has all this money been when people say they can't afford something? Has anyone thought about that? Have you thought about the actual supply chain of money? Have you thought about the movement of money? So what has happened is that people have gone out and they have bought and bought and bought. But they're the exact same people who say that they couldn't afford their health, and they couldn't afford their well-being, or they couldn't afford training programs, or they couldn't afford to lift themselves up into the higher version of themselves. But all of a sudden money is coming out of the woodwork to actually, to buy the supply chains. Now maybe it's all going on credit cards and so on. But what is happening is there has been a big burst of purchasing. There is then going to be a lull in purchasing, and this is why people have lost their jobs, because there was a surge and now that there is a lull. So what is happening with the lull, that is going into the total lack and the financial lack that is going on, because people are now hoarding their money. So they will go spend it on some things and they will hoard it on other things. And so there is money sitting in the community. It is just not being spent. Cars aren't being bought anymore, and new TVs may not being bought anymore, and particular facial things are not being done, and holidays are not being had, and new towels are not being bought, and new ornaments and new gadgets and gizmos and new opening things and closing things and things with buttons everywhere are just not being bought. So there is money sitting in the community, and don't go into the lack that people are not holding and not having that money, because There is money in the large organizations. There is money in government. And thankfully, most governments are putting that through to the people who have lost their jobs. So there is an element of people who will be in a desperate financial situation, but they will generally be the ones that haven't been looking ahead, and they've been spending up until this point, and now they're panicking. So there will be people who desperately need your help. There will be people who are desperately needing the government's help, and the help will be there. And know that whereas you are concerned, where have you been in the past? What have you done with your spending? Have you saved, or have you been a spender? If you've been a spender, you're going to be feeling the effects of it now. If you've been a saver, you've got that money now to look after yourself, to do the things that you would like to do now whilst you're in isolation, to do that training, to do that healing, to do the music course you wanted to do, or whatever it is that you are choosing to do. So with this pillar 7, please have a look that it's like a recalibration of the past. It is everything and all your choices leading up into now. And there are going to be so many people who will look back and go, wow, I actually worked really hard to get myself into this position. And there are other people who are going to be looking back and going, I've just spent and I haven't got anything to show for it. If you are in that state, know that this is where you pivot. This is where you change. This is where you actually recalibrate, because life starts now. Positivity starts now. Gratitude starts now. Release the past. Release the toxicity of the past. Allow your hot air balloon to be lifting into your higher consciousness, because the world is lifting. You are either going to be going with it, or you will be left behind with it. And it sounds harsh to say it, but it is the truth, and we've been saying this for 8 years. The consciousness is lifting, the planet is changing, the awareness, the instinct is actually changing, the intuition is lifting. You are either going to be in that hot air balloon with the majority moving forward, or those are going to be stuck on the ground, still blaming those sandbags from the past about why they can't lift. This is around you being positive and grateful and releasing. Does this make sense to you? All right, let's see who has connected in. Thank you for connecting in whilst we're going on our big rant. All right, we're going to do some coding soon and see exactly where you are with this particular pillar. So please, in the meantime, let us know, has this made sense to you? On a global sense, has it made sense? On a personal sense, has this made sense? What we will always say to you is the information that comes through this channel, and we literally call this information the channel. We call this body the channel. We call this Facebook group the channel to consciousness. There's no mistaking in any of all of this. What we literally say on this channel is that please, if it makes sense, if it resonates with you, then connect to it. If it doesn't, then look into your own information. This is not about lecturing. It's about literally, if you could feel the urgency and the energy and what it's doing, it is coming down into your cellular level. All of this information, all of this beautiful connection is literally being hammered into your cellular level to wake the hell up and to clear your cells and to lift you into the highest vibration of love and to clear out the darkness and lift into light and bring you up to your consciousness and your awareness, because then that information will make sense. But what we say is, don't take on everything we say. Take on the truth. Research the truth. Look for the truth. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to the planet? Be a truth seeker. Get as much information as you can and be a truth seeker. All right, thank you for that. Okay, so we are going to do some coding on this particular pillar, and we're just going to keep it very simple and ask you for a number 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3. And write that down in the comments if you could, please. So as we're going through the Pillar 7, this is the pillar of positivity. This is really good for your vibration, for your consciousness, to look at every situation that's deemed negative, every situation, and then write down 3 things that is actually a positive from it, and then do it into the minutia, do it into the smaller detail. Everything. It could be that it's annoying that you've got to work from home. What are 3 positive things from that? It could be that you've got a sick family member. What are 3 positive things from that? That you actually you have lost your job, or you have lost your shifts, or your finances have reduced. What are 3 positive things from that? And keep going. And the more you can do that, the more you'll actually lift that vibration, because there is a message. You are not being punished here, people. You are not being punished. You are not a victim. This is a scenario that is literally helping you get a leg up in your consciousness level. So where are your messages? Because all the individual messages will be coming through for you one by one. All right, so let's go through and see what you did with your coding. That was a coding number 1, 2, or 3. What we're having a look at is what is requiring lifting, or what may be being challenged when you go into your negativity. Is it your mind, your body, or your soul element around this pillar 7? And we will explain that. So if you received number 1 on here, what needs lifting is your mind state, and that's the purest form of being positive, a positive mindset. You may be around negative people or watching too much of the negative information, and your mind is starting to pull you down a little bit. Come back into your positivity. Listen to positive music, watch positive movies, have phone calls or meetings with positive people. Anyone who is negative around you, just shield yourself and tap out of it as quickly as you can, because once you will start to actually feel that drain of your mind going first with this pillar. If that makes sense, let us know. Number 2, it's the body. Your body is actually speaking to you first, and that is your body saying it not releasing as well as it could be. It literally will be storing. It can be storing fluid, weight, bowel, bladder, menstrual, skin, breath, toxicities, impurities. It could come out in skin issues, and all sorts of things. So it's the body release system. So the body's not functioning or flushing as well as what we would like it to be. Increase your water. Make sure you're lifting your nutrients of your vegetable intake, your vitamin intake. Make sure you're sitting in sun. Sun is really, really good for you. Make sure you're getting as much sun as you possibly can, and release. Because as soon as you can visualize releasing one of those sandbags, the body will actually start releasing again. So it's all around the body. Let us know if that makes sense. And then the number 3 is the soul component. So the soul component is moving into you're going to be starting to edge away from the gratitude of the situation and not understand the gratefulness around the situation. And that's going to move you more into a greed state. Now, a greed state can also mean apart from, greed is wanting more, but greed can be expecting more of yourself. That, you needed an afternoon's sleep and you're beating yourself up. Why didn't I, continue or do what I was needing to do? It's a greed. Your body is saying rest, you rest. It could be people around you being greedy. People expecting more of you, more of your time, more of your money, more of your emotion, more of your work, more of your actions or something. You could experience greed around you. So you'll either experience around you or you'll feel that. Now, with each of those numbers of 1, 2, and 3, if you are going into the contrast or the shadow side of this pillar 7, you will experience a little bit of all of those if you're on the contrast side. What we just coded then is what is more likely to be your message first. And then when you get that message, you can get the awareness of, gosh, I'm starting to slide into my contrast. I've got the awareness now, either from the mind, I've got the message from the body, or I've got the understanding from the soul. And I'm going to lift myself into that higher vibration. Because when you shadow and when you contrast, all 3 negatives happen, the mind, body, and the soul. but one of them will be the strongest message for you to have the awareness over. Does that make sense? Love to hear how you guys are going here. Lots of numbers here, and we got some questions back here as well. All right, so lots of numbers. 2 3 2 3 3 2 2 1 3 3. Okay, quite a few threes there. So just be really careful with threes, that this greed could come from others, and that's easier to understand, but it could come from yourself. You may be expecting too much of yourself at the moment. Just listen to your body. Do you need to rest? Do you need to heal? What is it that you're not forgiving yourself on, and so on. Have gratitude. Right, with this pillar 7, it's gratitude exercises. Be grateful. So you're going to, after this, you're going to write down a list of all the things that you're grateful for from your past. Then you're going to write down a list of all the things you're grateful for now. And then you're going to write a list of all the things you're grateful for in your future. Now the past, you know it's happened, and you've got hindsight. The now, you're in it. You've got to sort of look around and go, okay, how can I still be really grateful for where I am? But the present in your time and space hasn't occurred to you yet. I will say that again. So the future in your time and space hasn't occurred to you yet. It hasn't happened to you in your present form yet. So what you are going to do is you're going to choose it and select it so it happens. And when you choose and select with gratitude your future state, it actually changes your present state, because it changes or pivots your present direction. Do you understand what we are saying? Past, gratitude. Now, gratitude. Future, gratitude. The future hasn't happened in your time and space yet, but we are asking you to select the what. When you select the what and choose, the present alters to match your future outcome. And this is the key. This is the coding for the purest and highest and most successful form of manifesting. All right. Okay, let's go back to this. There's some questions in here. Question: for those who are new to consciousness and not quite woken up, they are stuck in fear. Yes, they are. Where do we start explaining all this to them? So when people are sitting in their fear state, and what we will say to you is, for everybody listening here who feels that you are in your conscious state, that you most of the time you can't be in it 100% of the time, but when you're mostly in your conscious state, the way that you've been utilizing and having that understanding that you are in your conscious state, and we want you to listen to this, is because you've been shown the opposite. Okay? You are aware you are in your conscious state only because you've been shown the opposite. And you've been shown what it's like not to be in a conscious state. So this has propelled you forward into the understanding of knowing that you are actually more awake, you've woken up, you're in your conscious state, you are checking, you are looking around. If you didn't have that opposite, that contrast, that shadow side for you to reveal where you're at, you would just feel that you are in an average state from where everybody else is sitting. Does this make sense to you to start with? So what is happening is we are asking those who have moved into that awakened state, that conscious state, to now not require the contrast to keep them awake. Okay? So the only way you know left is because you know right. The only way you know forward is because you know back. The only way you know light is because you know dark, until you don't require that anymore. And the conscious souls waking up on the planet are getting to a point, they're not quite there yet, but they're getting to a point where you don't need to see the shadow side to keep yourself in the conscious side. So that is the number one. So as soon as you are all accepting this in your conscious state, that you have actually been utilizing the unconscious to help leverage your consciousness, as soon as you accept that and realize that you don't require that anymore, that is the first step. That is release. Then you be the beacon, then you be the calmness, in control, and the confident. And those who are sitting in their fear will actually start getting sick of that energy, because fear is like feeding a child a big bunch of lollies. They love them to start with until they start feeling sick, and then they can't take any more, and they can't take any more. Fear is like the lolly. It's like the cigarette. It's like the heroin. Fear feels good. It actually feels good, and anger feels good until it doesn't. And it's when you get to that point, until it doesn't, that they will then start to realize that there's a way to change, and there's a way, little bit by little bit, to start lifting. If you stop that child from having their lolly, or if you give them a packet of lollies but then take them from them, the child will still want that. In other words, they'll still want the fear, still want the anger. But if they're getting to a point where it's overload and they're actually getting sick and they can't take anymore, that they will look to the person who didn't take those lollies in the first place. They will look to the person who is lifting into the higher consciousness. Eventually, their souls will finally win out over their mind, because they are all soul consciousness. They are all soul beings. Every one of you has your soul driving your life, but most of you has your mind managing your life. That is now time to change. That is where the rubber hits the road, as we have said. This is where you'll start to get the calmness of the planet. The isolation will start to reduce that mind fretting, and the soul will finally get a chance to listen, to speak, and to love. So be patient, understanding where you are sitting, understanding where they are sitting, understanding that you can have literally little gentle reminders, stepping stones to the higher consciousness, but you have to do it with pebbles, not a sledgehammer. Allow them to move and to lift in their journey, because everyone is approaching this in a different level, and everyone is coming to consciousness at a different time. Be incredibly grateful that you are the heightened in your consciousness, and keep being grateful and keep lifting into that, and others who already one by one will come to you, and then you will realize that's when you can assist them. We hope this answered your question. This is what I've been telling friends since bushfire, floods, etc., and that whilst many lives will be lost in the world, we'll be going back to the basics in family. Absolutely, it will be going back to the basics. It'll be helping each other. It'll be more community. It'll be more home-based cooking. It'll be more understanding people's individual skill sets. We will give you an example. This channel's father was an incredible athlete in New South Wales, an Australian swimmer, and played rugby for New South Wales, and water polo for New South Wales, and was just immersed in sport. Now, in those days, 60 odd years ago, they could move from season to season, and sport to sport, and then they could actually really enjoy what was going on. What happens now is it's down to not only can you can't do water polo and swimming, you just have to do swimming, is you can't do freestyle and backstroke, you just have to do backstroke. You can't do backstroke 100 meters and 50 meters, you've just got to do 50 meters. Everything has come down to such a micro focus that the joy has been smashed out of everything. So the joy has got to come back into consciousness. The joy and the variety has got to come back into the community. And that will be coming back to the basics, and that will be coming back to community, and that will be coming back to loving life again, and being the master of positivity, gratitude, and the joy of the vibration of life. And it will come back to basics. And when you come back to basics, you are going to stop trying to be the master of everything as well. You will actually come back to the basics of what you've been gifted in this planet for your skill sets, and what you've been guided in this journey to be having your gifts delivered matching with these skill sets. And you are going to then understand the joy and the fabrication of that particular process will be unrivaled in success and joy. And it will all come from basics. It'll come back from basics, and it will come back to the origins of less is more. I presume this is a wake up to stop the consumerism, 100%. Materialism, and realize the cost of the greed of the endless shopping, 100%. Practitioners, coaches, guides, mentors, business owners, marketers, everybody on here who is listening, everybody who has had something to sell, something of value, something of beauty, of artwork, of music, of delight, of joy, of entertainment. Any one of you who've had something to sell, you would have had more people say to you they absolutely, desperately love what you're selling, would love to do what you were offering, and would love that event or that artwork or that healing or that program or that training or that business or whatever it is. But I can't afford it. 100% of you would have had that said to you. What is happening now is people are realizing they've been able to afford things their entire life, but they've made choices. So this is recalibrating the choices. Do they really want to have a new outfit, a new handbag, or a new pair of shoes, or takeaway food, or that packet of cigarettes, and all of these, these fabrications that are coming into the house, and there's new equipment, or do they actually want to do the particular thing that you have on offer? And people are going to come back and realize that they're saying, in one sense, they're loving to do this particular thing that's going to give them joy, and in the other sense, their mind is saying, but you can't afford that. But you can afford the cigarettes, or you can afford to go and buy all these things and throw them away again. Consumerism is going to be out the door for the conscious. And it is not going to be the higher spiritual situation. It's going to become the norm for the conscious, because it will be that you have value exchange. Where do you truly choose to gift your value exchange out to the world? Where do you truly choose to receive it back in? People have been looking for external material rewards. We have gone into this a number of times, actually, to say that external value has left the internal home and it's gone into the workplace. We have said this probably 3-4 months ago in a channel very, very, very extensively, that the value is going into the workhouse, and so therefore people have lost the value in their home, and they're putting all that value externally. Well, what's happened now? The external is shut down, my friends. So when the external is shut down, where is the value? The value has been sitting out in that external world. But that boss couldn't have done without me 6 weeks ago, but they just now fired me. Okay, where is my external value? My employment was so secure, and I was the leader, and I had ego that I was moving, and I was doing this and I was doing that. But now all of a sudden they're saying, go home and we might let you know if we want you to come back. So the external value has been placed outside of the human. That's a dangerous thing. It's the same as an organization sending offshore all their absolute key risk requirements for a business to run. It is outsourcing. It's putting value outside themselves. So everything is going to start only by the conscious. Everything is going to start to come back internally. What do we have as our value internally? What do we have locally? People will start buying local. The healing and the fruit and the vegetables and the honeys and so on of the planet are the most nutritious in the area, to the community, to the population where they're grown. Do you hear what we're saying to you here? That the foods and the protein and the plants and the honeys, the furniture that's made, everything that's made in the local community actually has that local community connection for the weather, for the temperature, for the digestion system of the community and everything. So everything is going to start to come back into localized. Support local, be local, connect. What's your tribe? This is a conscious tribe. It's a local tribe of people connecting in consciously. Where are you lifting to? What is happening in your world? What have you got to deliver in your world? And where are you going to deliver it? Start local. All of those pillar practitioners we've got spread around Australia, one in the UK, people in all sorts of different countries wanting to learn the pillar code. How amazing would that be that you become the pillar practitioner in your local area and you become the expert in that area? It's absolutely the way forward. All right, been on our high horse today, have we what? All right, so any questions, put them up. If not, we will let you go. We don't know how long we have been on for, but it's probably been too long. So we're very happy, as you are aware, to keep chatting, to keep talking, to keep communicating. There is a library of information that is bottled up behind this channel ready to come out. It is about time that we sit and we realize what that George acronym means. Globally enlightened, origin restoring, governing energy. Teach healing love, people. Please teach it out, communicate it out to the world. Please, no matter what you do, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what it is that you're doing, do it through that vibration of love. Do it through the passion of love. You could be building houses, selling houses, building the health of bodies. You could be architects, you could be artists, you could be singers, you could be teachers, you could be educators, you could be government workers. It doesn't matter, but do it through the vibration of love. Teach how to heal through love. Teach the high vibration. Teach that immunity lifts through this particular form, and this is the new form. You're going to call it the new form, but it's the original form of community. You are coming back to the original form of community, and just in time, because you are hearing that all of this AI connection is out there to actually do the thinking for people, and in 2030 they want AI to be actually thinking for people. Well, if you're not scared by that, nothing will scare you. Stop it, and stop it now. Lift your consciousness vibration so you are the computer, so you are the awareness, so you are the conscious love leader of the planet. It is time for you to do this. The world is waiting and the world is waking. The world is choosing, and it is now. What are you going to do about it? All right. That's us for today. We will speak to you tomorrow. Have an amazing day of gratitude. This was all around Pillar 7, the stepping stone of consciousness. Take yourself into the positive realm with gratitude. Do your exercises. Be grateful. Pay it forward. Share it forward. Show the love. And we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.